What's up, Falcons Nation? It's your boy Jew coming at you with another Atlanta Falcons video. As always, Falcons Nation, rise up. In today's video, I would like to talk about Atlanta Falcons GM Terry Fontenot. But if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell so you'll know when I've done Atlanta Falcons content. Hit that like button for your boy. I do appreciate each and every one of you guys for continuing to tune into the channel. Continuing to share out my content on all the social media platforms. If you would like to follow your boy on Twitter and Instagram, you can follow me at Jew Talk Sports. If you would like to donate to my channel, you can donate to my Cash App, which is the $ Jew Talk Sports. If you would like to join my new Jew Talk Sports membership and be a member of my channel, you could do that as well by just clicking on the join button on my channel, on my page. On YouTube, which is $2.99 and $4.99. I did launch my membership last week and appreciate each and every one of you guys for signing up for my membership. But also, with that being said, let's jump right into the video. So like I stated in today's video, I did want to talk about Atlanta Falcons GM Terry Fontenot. Today, Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith did have their end of the year press conference. Now that the 2021 season is finally over, and Terry Fontenot, our GM, was asked about free agency and asked about current players that are currently free agents heading into this season. And basically, Terry Fontenot stated that he would prioritize the guys that are currently on this roster. He definitely stated that we want to invest in the players that are currently in our building. And I definitely think that this is the best way to go about building a winning franchise, building a championship football team. I always talk about chemistry. I always talk about developing your players that you actually draft. And we have a couple of players on this team that the Falcons have drafted that are free agents. Foye Oluokun, my middle linebacker, who actually had a great season this year. With almost 200 tackles on the season. He had 197 tackles. He led the league in tackles this year, led the NFL in tackles. Players like Isaiah Oliver, who he drafted a couple years ago with Thomas Dimitroff and Dan Quinn were here, who's also a free agent. He's our nickel cornerback. And then we have Cordero Patterson, the guy who we brought in as that running back / wide receiver / playmaker on the offensive side of the ball. So we have a lot of free agents heading into free agency. I believe we have about 20-something players that are free agents heading into this offseason. And I believe that Terry Fontenot made the correct statement when he talked about bringing back the guys that are currently in your building or investing in those guys first. When you hit free agency, good news is a lot of the players that I'm talking about, the Foye Oluokuns of the world, also Russell Gage, the wide receiver, who really blossomed this year and stepped up this year for Atlanta Falcons. Both Foye Oluokun and Russell Gage both talked about they want to come back next season and they want to re-sign with the Atlanta Falcons. Russell Gage basically stated that he would give the Falcons the first opportunity to re-sign him before he would look at any other teams. And Foye basically stated that he was going to, he definitely wanted to come back as well, but he would leave it to his agents. So I definitely think that Terry Fontenot stated the correct thing when he talked about re-signing your players. I really think that that's the best way to build a winning franchise is re-signing your own playmakers and don't allow those guys to leave and sign with other teams because the Atlanta Falcons in the past in our organization, we have been burned by trying to go out and sign other players that were stars elsewhere. When we tried to sign like the running backs, we recently signed Mike Davis in the offseason. In the past, we signed running backs like Steven Jackson, who was basically past his prime, stole money from our Atlanta Falcons. We signed guys like Todd Gurley, who was past his prime last season or 2 seasons ago. He was past his prime as well and dealt with a lot of injuries. And we brought in guys like Ray Edwards in the past, defensive end years ago, to try to come in. We signed Dante Fowler a couple years ago as well and let go of guys like Vic Beasley. And pretty much some of these guys that I'm mentioning, they just didn't pan out for our Atlanta Falcons. So I definitely think that Terry Fontenot is right. You are rolling the dice when you let your players walk and you try to replace them with other guys in free agency because you don't know what you're getting in those other players. So I definitely think that with our Atlanta Falcons, that Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot are going about it the correct way. I definitely think that our Falcons should look to re-sign our star players and guys that are homegrown players, like Foyer, who basically came in. I believe he was like a 5th or 6th round pick, and he has developed into one of the best linebackers in the league. Also, Isaiah Oliver is a guy we drafted, I think, in the 2nd or 3rd round a couple years ago, and he's another guy that really blossomed this year and started to play well at the end of 2 seasons ago. He started to play well when Dan Quinn was let go, and they moved him into that nickel corner position, and then he really blossomed and was playing well before he got injured this season. So I definitely think you want to bring back those guys, basically because we know what we have in those guys. If you try to replace a guy like Foyer, whether it's in the draft or whether it's trying to sign another veteran middle linebacker or another linebacker, you may not get, you may not get the same player. You may not, the returns that you get back from the new player, they may not be as good as the current players that we already have. So I definitely think that Foyer, CP, I definitely think that Russell Gage, I really think that the Falcons and Isaiah Oliver, I definitely think that those are going to be guys that Terry Fontenot look to bring back this offseason. I definitely think those guys possibly will be re-signed. I think the first guy that you have to look at is Foyer at that middle linebacker position. I think he takes top priority because of his age and because of the season that he's had the last 2 seasons. I think the second player that you would look at possibly re-signing would be CP, because he came in and he played really well last year for us. You try to bring him back on the offensive side. And then I think you look to bring back a guy like Isaiah Oliver because Dean Pease loves him in his system. And he's that guy that can play that nickel role. And you have to have a nickel corner in today's NFL. You really have to have as many pass rushers and as many corners as possible and playmakers as possible. So those are the 3 guys that I definitely think the Falcons will try to lock down. And those 3 guys will have top priority. Another guy that's out there we may re-sign is Hayden Hurst, the tight end. We may bring him back as well, depending on the cap situation and how much money we have. But I definitely think the top 3 guys you have to look at re-signing is Foyer, Isaiah Oliver, and CP. To me, those 3 players you want to definitely bring back because those guys play huge roles for our Atlanta Falcons. And then you also may look back at bringing in a Hayden Hurst. If you don't re-sign Hayden Hurst, maybe you draft another tight end. But with that being said, you guys let me know what you think of the video. Do you think that we should re-sign those players that I mentioned? What do you think about what Terry Fontenot said about investing in the current players that you have in your building? I definitely feel like that's the way you go about building a winning franchise, is building from within. You definitely can bring in free agents and things of that nature. But I really think the way that you go about consistently winning in this league is not going out and bringing a whole bunch of guys in free agency, but actually developing your players that you draft and re-signing those guys because you know what those guys can bring to the table. But with that being said, this has been your boy Jew. I have a lot more coming for you guys. So definitely stay tuned. I also will be launching in 2 weeks. I'll have an exact date for you guys in a couple days, but I will be launching What's the Word? Dirty Bird Season 2. So you guys definitely stay tuned to that, which that's when I will be going live and doing my live solo shows. So you guys definitely want to stay tuned. I'll definitely be giving y'all the date to What's the Word? Dirty Bird Season 2. You guys definitely know. Let me know in the comment section maybe with some of the topics you guys will want me to talk about in my What's the Word? Dirty Bird Season 2. Once I launch my live shows, you guys let me know in the comment section some of the topics you guys would like me to talk about heading into next season. We definitely will talk about the draft, the upcoming draft for this year now that the season's over. And we definitely will talk about a lot more things for our Atlanta Falcons. But with that being said, this been your boy Jew. I'll highlight you guys in the next video. As always, Falcons Nation, rise up. Peace.